Good morning, everyone. It is October the 26th, 2024. Before I start with, as you can see from my title here, more comments, I wanted to do a brief correction on my other video from 2 weekends ago on the fires that were set in Lower Town here. And it is basically, now there was over 10 fires definitely set. Just to correct it, there wasn't 10 different people that were charged for all the fires. Earlier this week, it was confirmed by the police that they had arrested one woman for setting 10 of the fires. For sure, we don't know if she's responsible for more, but there could be other people involved, but we still have to get that confirmed, as well as that it's been really good because we've had the cameras that have done this for us. So she was actually, with the cameras, they were able to trace her through our social housing and that, and confirmed that she was the one who was setting the fires. So this was why I recommend the cameras, because in this case, the cameras were working well. And of course, there's controversy over the cameras, but I just wanted to let people know that there was one woman charged with 10 arsons so far on the fires. And with the cameras, as I said, it's been really good, and I can't stress that enough, how important the cameras were on this particular incident, and why the value of cameras are so terribly important in today's society. And unfortunately, we're going that way. And to further on to how we're going that way, I want to bring up that I just saw a report through the news on Vancouver, British Columbia, where they're now talking about the traffic cameras being used as well by the police. And that's in big controversy there, because the police would like access to the traffic cameras as well as private cameras. And I can understand their point of view. If you've got, say, a shooting and you've got a suspect fleeing from the scene, and you're trying to track where that possible vehicle is going, that's one way of tracking them. And then, of course, you come back to the privacy advocates versus our safety again. And of course, the privacy advocates are fighting, well, the police should be able to get warrants to go into those cameras, not just have free access to them. So there's a lot of infighting over that right now. So that should be interesting to see what happens. In my case, as I said, it proved that the cameras worked on catching this person for sure. And fortunately, thank goodness, there was no loss of life or anything, that it was caught in time. And of course, as there could be more people involved, I know they're still looking into it, I believe. And I know on our dumpster, the second fire that was set at our place, it was one of the tenants who was the one that was putting the fire out in the bin that ran into what he believed was a man, and he said the man had a beard, so it's possible. So that's being looked into. I just wanted to clarify things on that. Now, I want to get into definitely the comments now on that particular video that I put up on the fires. And this person wrote in and said, I agree so much with you about cameras. We need that so much. However, it makes no sense why people with violent records, etc., get places with no cameras at all. Mystery to be found out. Now, my response to this was, the cameras are only one part of larger problems. The court system, how they deal with offenders. The Landlord and Tenants Act for another. It needs to be changed so that ordinary people, for example, go to work, pay their bills, rent, etc., don't cause trouble. These people have no rights when renting once these criminal people take over with no strict laws to evict them. So this is where there's another problem. When you get the dealers coming in and people going in and out of the apartment, and they're causing havoc in the apartments, and it's getting them evicted, and it takes so long, as I've pointed out, and then it takes so long if the apartment's trashed, then it takes so long to re-rent the apartment because they have to fix it up, and again, it also costs more money because they're really damaging the apartments. So it's kind of a vicious circle that we're in right now, and we have to find a way out of it. And the only way we can possibly, one way of getting out of it at least, would be to change the Landlord and Tenants Act for those who are being peaceful, just going to work, just doing their everyday business, not bothering anybody, just being people, ordinary people. They need to have some kind of protection, and that's what we do not have right now. The only protection we have now, thankfully, is to the cameras. And going on to Julie's video now that she just put up, the last one, I have another comment here. I spoke to a few people who do not go to the well anymore because of the changes and violent incidents that happen there. I go there on occasion, but I am aware of this, unfortunately. Recording it is the best way to go because they gang up, lie unless you record it. Birds of a feather. Now, this is exactly what Julie was doing. She was starting to record it. Now, she's going to be kicked out. That's what they did. They kicked her out because they said she started it. And there's only one way of settling that. Who's elbowing who? Cameras will definitely tell a story there. So, and back when, I know myself being a mother, as I'm sure a lot of us can relate to, when we have more than one child, and my 3 boys were like 2.5 years apart, and I can certainly use them as an example here, that one would start up and get the other 2 into trouble, and I never knew completely all the time just who started it and what was going on, so they all got punished for it. So afterwards, they started realizing, well, you know, that's the way it goes. You know, why should we all get punished for the same thing? Where in Julie's case, I believe what the staff should have done was not only just throw Julie out, the other 2 parties that were involved with the fight, they should have been thrown out and even banned maybe for several days from going back into the well. This might have solved the problem. But then again, what do you have? You have the staff. They're too afraid to intervene because they know these clients are very, very violent. And this is what I'm saying here. And this is why people are not going to the well. This is why the changes are here that's causing it. And it's been a lot more incidents too since the men now have been allowed to go in, when at one point it was just all women. And that was beautiful for me and Julie back in 2010 when we were both in a shelter, as well as when I first started getting my own apartment and that. I could go there and I wouldn't have to worry about being harassed by men, that's for sure. And I get a little bit of peace and quiet, and staff are really nice. And some of the other drop-in centers where we'd all go in, and as Julie said, she tries to help. And this is what we used to do back then. Sometimes it was setting the table. We each took turns at this. It wasn't like we had some minor responsibilities. Sometimes it would be simple things like a person who is maybe walking with a cane or handicapped. They couldn't get up and wait in line for their food, so one of the girls would get an extra plate and bring it back to that person, which made sense. You know, it was respect for everybody. Now there's no more respect. And even standing in line, why barge ahead? Why pick on people? But this is what's happening right now. So all the people who just want to go to eat, literally just eat, not cause trouble, are being chased away from here. So what you're getting is, like as Julie has described in 454, all the druggies are coming in, and basically what's happening, whether the staff want to admit it or not, they're being treated like slaves to these drug dealers and these people who are on drugs and that. Even though they're trying hard to help them, I don't deny that, I understand that. But when you have to look at it from a different point of view, and that's one of my reasons for this channel, is we need to take something away from it and a different point of view. So I'm just trying to give a point of view. They think everything can be handed to them on a silver platter right now. So that's what's happening. And this is why we're having the conflict, because everything was just handed to them on a silver platter, especially during the pandemic. And they figure that this is the way it should be, that they get all the attention. They get all the food. They get everything. And they don't care about anybody else but themselves. And they don't care to use violence if they have to. So we have to look at different ways of doing this. And this is one of the reasons that I suggested that the cameras be put in to the drop-in centers as well. So if there's conflict, things that go wrong, like Julie's has been gone in, and other people have told me, oh yeah, they've been threatened with a butter knife off the table. So they're getting away with threatening people. But if a camera can record that person picking up a butter knife and threatening another person who's just sitting there, not causing any trouble, then you know who you have to ban. And I mean, we did this years ago, even as a security guard, working the malls. We had a list of people, literally a list of people who were banned from the mall. And it was always enforced. And this is another thing, that even if a person is banned, they seem to be able to slip in again into one of the centers, and they still cause trouble. So this is where I think the cameras would be handy with these people who are being banned, definitely, where the police could step in and crack down on these people. This is where the crackdown needs to be. So I just wanted to add that there. And then also, I was also talking with Julie about the high cost of food and that today. And this was another comment that came in from a viewer. We talked about grocery expenses, etc. at our community breakfast this past week. Tougher than ever. Food banks are struggling too. Cat, dog food, etc. Children's needs are all at strict limits anyway. Yes, much to talk about. And then, of course, I came back, and my response was, thanks for all the info to back up Julie. But it's not only just backing up Julie here, it's also backing up what I'm saying and what I'm hearing at the same time on how unhappy people are, how violent it's getting out there with the drugs and that. But I think this is one of the things that we have to look at. Banning people again, making sure that they're strictly taken seriously. And if it's not taken seriously, that's when I feel like the police should step in. Maybe not every single time that there's a scuffle, but if a person's banned and comes back and causes trouble again, then they should be taken into consideration, and they should be reprimanded for doing that, for not following the rules, definitely. So, and like I said, and the rules are not being abided by. And this is another problem. And I'm not saying that the staff is all wrong either. And I do believe there's also cases that the staff are correct, so I'm not all down on the staff here. But I do believe that the cameras are the way to go. So I just wanted to leave that there today, but there's a lot more to talk about. But actually, there's one more thing that I know that I remember when I was talking about my children. I remember an incident when my brother and I used to get into fights as a child. And it was, we used to sit in the living room, my brother and I, and we used to watch TV programs. Well, my mom and dad, they'd sit in the kitchen and they'd eat, and my brother and I get into a spat. So my mom got this brilliant idea of putting a great big mirror at the end of the piano, resting against the piano, so that they, from the kitchen, could see us in the mirror, watch the two of us while we're eating. So then they'd be able to step in as well. So this might be another way of correcting this problem. Maybe we need to put mirrors up like they did, like the security mirrors that they have in the stores, for an example. That might be another way of helping to correct this problem, as well as if they know that people can look and the staff can look very quickly at what's going on. So I'm just giving another recommendation, another opinion for myself. So I'm going to leave it there today, everyone. Food for thought. Everyone, take care, be safe, watch your surroundings, and have a nice day. And bye-bye, and we'll talk again soon.